There's a point where hiring an in-house SDR might be the most expensive mistake you can make this year. And there's also a point where hiring an agency to do your outbound for you and get you leads might also not be the best idea, right? I'm going to show you exactly where that line sits in this video with the same framework I use with my own clients. We've helped over 400 B2B companies get more leads, get more appointments, and scale their business. And I'm going to show you what I've learned from both ends of this. Now, to be clear, I'm going to give you a comparison on a 6 different factors on the pros and cons of building an outbound function in-house versus outsourcing to an agency. And there might be a case where you could do both as well. And I want to make this very clear because a lot of people giving advice online are giving a very biased view because they want to sell you something. And I'm not going to pretend I'm Mother Teresa and I have nothing to sell you. We have an agency. We help clients book more appointments and scale their pipeline through outbound and paid and inbound as well. However, we help clients with building these systems in-house as well as, outsourcing to us where we just book appointments for them with our sales team, right? Point being, I'm going to give you a very objective, unbiased view because we offer services for both. We do consulting and we do done for you. So you can trust that everything I'm sharing here is really just giving you like the objective view on both. At the end of the video, you can decide what makes sense for you. But point is, if you want to get more leads, more appointments, more pipeline, and scale your revenue, it's really important to know, whether you should hire an agency or whether you should build this in-house. And there's a lot of considerations with both. And I've seen people make this mistake where they've wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars doing this the wrong way, usually because they go in-house too early. And also I've seen cases where companies have wasted not just money, but just time, opportunity costs, right? 6 months of getting no results. And that's also no fun. So anyways, let's get into it. So SDR maturity curve framework. It's really not a question of like, is one better for you or not? It's kind of just depends on where you are in the business and what the right time is for you, right? So first, here's the benefits of hiring an agency partner, right? So a lot of companies come to us to run their outbound. We book them, 10, 20, 50 calls a month, depending on their budget. And we just book appointments for their sales team, right? And the nice thing about that is, when a company hires an agency, you get a pre-built system and process. Like for me, even though I run a B2B marketing agency, Revenue Boost, I still hire agencies to do stuff for us because I don't want to build everything in-house because it's like, I don't want to figure everything out through trial and error. I just want someone that knows what they're doing and has a system to deploy, right? So with an agency, you're typically going to get quicker results. You're going to have more speed to pipeline. Also, the tech stack and data is included, so you're not going to have to spend all this money signing annual contracts with all these software tools. But the downside is you're kind of renting results, right? If that agency gets acquired and maybe the new buyer of that agency is like not doing a good job, the results could fall off a cliff. There's uncertain things that could happen, right? I mean, there's always uncertainty, but there's different sides of the coin here. But you're renting results. So if you let go of that agency in a year and you switch, like a good agency should really give you the data. Like when clients move on from us at Revenue Boost, move on, that sounds funny. It sounds like they're dying or something, right? Like when clients stop working with us at Revenue Boost, we still give them the data, the copy, everything. We don't want to gatekeep because we want our clients to be successful, with or without us, right? But anyways, a lot of agencies, they will like hide this stuff and they won't give you the assets. And, that can be also dangerous, right? But ultimately, when you build things in-house, the nice thing is you're building an internal asset that you control more, right? But the costs are astronomical initially because you got to recruit, you got to hire SDRs, you got to manage them. You're going to need a sales manager and you're going to have to pay for all the tech stack. And there's a slower ramp up time. The average SDR, they say, takes 6+ months to ramp up, right? So what that means is you're going to be burning money for like 6 months and yeah, you'll see some results, but it's going to be like much, much quicker to get results and to get ROI if you just hire an agency. And it makes sense because an agency has a proven process to deploy. Whereas if you're going to build that in-house, you have to create the proven process. And if you're not an expert in outbound, if you're not an expert in GTM, then it's going to take you even longer because you don't know what the hell you're doing, right? And you're going to have a lot of expensive mistakes. But the benefit of in-house is you own the system. So that's also very valuable to the business, right? So again, it just kind of depends on where you are. But let's get into the meat of it and let's help you scale your go-to-market motion here today. So here's the table I have. I'm going to evaluate it based on these 6 factors, right? So first, cost-wise, when you're building, let's say you're going to hire your first SDR. By the way, if you don't know, SDR means sales development rep. It's just a fancy corporate name for somebody that makes cold emails or cold calls and gets you appointments. SDRs typically just do the setting. So they'll just book appointments for the closer, also known as an AE or account executive, depending on what world you come from. But essentially, that's just to define the terms here. If you're going to hire your first SDR, expect to pay $12K a month. Now you might be saying, AJ, I thought SDRs was a junior role. I thought I could get someone for $5,000 a month or $7,000 a month. And I'd say, you're right. But the salary is the visible cost, not the real cost, right? Fully loaded, $12K a month, $140K a year because you have to pay payroll. You have to pay tax. You have to pay benefits, sick days, vacations, dental insurance, right? All that stuff that people seem to really care about, right? But also you got to pay for the tools and you got to pay for the recruiter. It's going to cost you 10 to 20 grand to hire this person, right? If you do it in-house, if you do it with a recruiter, like they're going to take a percentage on that salary, or they're going to be an upfront, and there's going to be an upfront fee. Typically it's both, right? So you can't just say that, okay, I'm going to hire an SDR for 6 grand a month. It's not that simple, right? You have to pay for all these other costs, right? Outbound agency. So I put 6K a month here because that's our core price, right? Typically you can get an outbound agency for like 4 to 10 grand a month. 4 grand a month is on the lower end, and there's less resources for them to deliver results. So I would look at budgeting, at least 6 grand a month. And that's what our base price is. If you were to hire Revenue Boost, you pay us 6 grand a month. You save half the cost, and honestly, you get better results because we have a team of 5 people. Well, our team's bigger than 5 people, but we'd have for each client account, they get up to 5 people working on their campaigns. Deliverability specialist, list building specialist, copywriter, etc. So the costs are different, right? With outsourcing to an agency, it's kind of just more transparent because that I'm going to pay this fee every month, right? And if you have an agency that charges you per meeting booked, it's going to end up costing this or more than this anyway. A retainer is at least more predictable. But that's really important, right? Because a lot of people think that, I'm going to hire this in-house, and they don't realize how expensive it gets to pay for the tools, ZoomInfo, Apollo, Clay, Instantly, all these companies. A lot of them, like ZoomInfo, they want annual contracts, right? And again, you got to pay for recruiting. And guess what? Here's the worst part. SDRs and salespeople have the highest churn compared to any other department in business, right? Compared to finance, marketing, operations, salespeople have the highest churn. I don't really know why. I have a theory why, that salespeople are just generally like fickle, and also they're very money motivated. So if they're not making a lot of money, or if they have a slow start, like they're going to hop to the next opportunity. And maybe we're also a little bit ADHD as salespeople. But anyways, the big thing is that salespeople churn, right? The average SDR often, actually have some data over here. The average SDR tenure is it's less than 2 years, 16 to 20 months, right? So what does that mean? You might spend all this time training your salespeople, and then they quit, right? And then what do you got to do? You got to pay another recruiter to hire them again. And then they're going to have to train them. And then you're going to have to get your sales manager to show them all the playbooks. And then they're going to take 6 months to ramp up. And you go over and over again. So again, there's benefits to doing it in-house, but just understand how difficult it can be to get it right, and how much more time it takes than you think, right? So that's the cost. Now, potential results. This one's a little bit tricky. I'm going to give a little bit of nuance here. Typically, you're going to get better results when you outsource to an agency versus doing it in-house. But there can be times where I would say there can be aspects of hiring in-house that can also produce better results than an agency. It really depends. But if I'm just putting in, that's why I said there's nuance. But if we're just trying to put an average on this, you're typically going to expect better results with an agency if you pick the right one. Why? Because look, at Revenue Boost, we've run I've run thousands of lead generation campaigns, right? We've helped 400 plus clients. So we have so much data on what works. If you come to us, let's say that you're I was talking to a client yesterday that's a fractional CFO practice, right? We've had experience in financial services, so we have past data on what works, right? So a big part is just the data, right? Agencies have data, and also agencies have to be at the cutting edge, the good ones at least, right? As an agency, you need to be at the cutting edge, right? So my team and I are always testing the newest tools, testing the newest AI workflows, all of this, because we want to bring the best results to our clients, right? If you're doing this in-house, you're not going to be at the cutting edge because you're not going to have someone's full-time job being learning new tech and stuff, right? So agencies are typically going to be more at the cutting edge of new tools. They're going to have previous data of people in your industry that they've helped, right? And they're just going to have a proven system to deploy, right? They're not guessing. When you do everything in-house, you're really guessing, and you're building everything from scratch, which again has more long-term benefit. But typically, yeah, with an agency, agencies are just know what works. Agencies are at the forefront of the industry. They're tapped into what's working now. Because we live or die based on our results. If we're not getting results for our clients, they fire us. So we have to be always having that that standard of results, right? Now next is time to ROI. So with the in-house, it's going to be 6 to 12 months. Outsourcing to an agency is 2 to 6 months, right? Again, these are just averages based on my experience. And obviously things are dependent kind of on your background. If your CEO has had a lot of experience running outbound campaigns, you might get ROI a little bit quicker because you know what you're doing. But if you're new to outbound, if you haven't really built a cold email team before or an SDR team, it's going to be even longer, right? So, time to ROI, meaning if I build my SDR team in-house, outbound team in-house, how long is it going to take for me to start being profitable, right? At least 6 months, right? Why? Because look at the data. The average, so it takes 6 to 12 weeks to ramp up an SDR. And it takes time to hire them, train them, onboard them. And like those are 4 different jobs. There's recruiting, right? So there's actually recruiting, then there's hiring. There's 2 different things. Then there's onboarding, then there's training. All those 4 workflows have to happen before they can actually start sending cold emails or making cold calls, right? And then they're not going to be very good at the beginning because they're still learning your company, learning your industry, right? And honestly, an agency still has to learn your company too. But like our agency, we've probably helped someone similar in your industry before, so we also have some of that experience, right? So typically, a good agency would likely have helped someone close to your industry before, or if not exactly like you. So it's going to work a little bit faster. So if you're like in a situation where, hey, I need to hit my KPIs now, I need tangible results in the next 90 days from my outbound program, then you're going to want to work with an agency versus in-house. And also you can do both, right? So we've helped clients outsource to us, and then we give them the system and then train their in-house team. And that's a really nice hybrid model as well, right? So yeah, we've had clients where, we do everything in the beginning, we get them results, we're getting them their KPI, whatever, 20, 30 booked meetings a month. And then we basically move the systems to their internal team, and maybe they hire like a sales manager and, we sort of consult them, right? So that's also been a nice way you can get the best of both. But if you need results sooner, if you need to show more results in the next 3 to 6 months, just forget about the idea of hiring SDRs or sales managers internally, because it's not gonna be that easy. And I know it because we've done both.
Hey, real quick, how would you like a free 7-hour mini course on exactly how to start and scale outbound campaigns that book you appointments and get you clients? If that sounds good, then click the link in the description and download it real quick. This is free, my gift to you as a subscriber. And definitely download this unless you hate leads and you don't want to grow your business. If that's the case, then don't do it. But otherwise, grab it and put it to work right away. I mean, this is literally so action-packed, so like straight to the point. You can pretty much just go through the whole course in a day, implement it tomorrow, and start getting booked appointments the next day. So it's very, very easy to follow. Grab the link in the description down below. Hope you enjoy it. And also, if you don't want to do this yourself and you would actually just like to hire a team to run outbound campaigns for you and book you sales appointments, then there's also a link in the description to book a call with my team and I, where you can actually just see what it would look like to have us just do all this for you. Anyways, thanks for watching, and let's get back to the video.
Now, next is the effort, right? So when you're considering any of these decisions, like should I hire an agency or should I do it in-house? The question is, how much effort do you want to put in? Because if you're going to build this in-house, be prepared to make this your full-time job if you want to do it correctly, right? But if you're going to outsource to an agency, like, look, when a client onboards an agency, when a client onboards us to do their outbound for them and their lead generation, all we need is like 1 or 2 calls with them, and then we need them to fill out a discovery form, and we do the rest. And then we just book meetings on their calendar, and it's completely like carefree for them, right? But if you're doing it in-house, you have to do recruiting, hiring, training, onboarding, managing. You have to evaluate the tech stack, right? You have to make sure you're like salespeople, you can't just leave them to their own devices. You have to be like managing them, doing weekly calls with them, right? Ideally, like a lot of salespeople do daily stand-ups. So if you're not prepared to put the effort in, then just work with an agency who is, right? Or you have to hire a sales manager, which makes this cost go up, right? So then you have to get another sales manager on top of the SDR costs. So now short-term benefit. So I think you guys can get the point here. The short-term benefit to hiring in-house is weaker. And with an agency, it's much better, right? So if you need more ROI, more results, more pipelines sooner, then work with an agency, find a good one versus doing it in-house. But again, there's more long-term benefit to having it in-house, right? So it just kind of depends on like what your priorities are and what your goals are in the next, few months, and really the next 12 to 24 months, right? So now long-term benefit, right? There's more long-term benefit to building things in-house because you control everything, right? There's more headaches as well, but eventually, so in-house is going to be like more delayed gratification, right? But outsourcing to an agency, there's a little bit less long-term benefit. But the reason I put a thumbs down, this weird like demonic looking thumbs down and the thumbs up here, is because I would say that there's more long-term benefit to building an outbound function in-house versus outsourcing. But the reason I put like a maybe here is because you could do a hybrid approach. And I really do think that's the best for every company. Hybrid is the way to go, right? Because look, if you want to build outbound, if you want to make cold emailing, LinkedIn, cold calling part of your business, the best thing to do, in my opinion, well, not really my opinion, this is just based off of what I've seen and all the data I've seen and all my experience working with all of our clients and our team at Revenue Boost. The best thing you can do is outsource to an agency, work with them for 12 months or less, whatever, 6 to 12 months. They're going to do the hardest part, which is figuring out the playbook. What are the scripts that work? What's the targeting that work? What's the best? what's the right process from getting the lead to book a call, to show up to the call, to closing a deal? Like all of those things have to be figured out, right? How do we get email deliverability, right? I have full-time people at my company that just focus on email deliverability, right? Are you prepared to pay for that, right? If you're not, then don't do it in-house, right? At least not up front. So point being is the hardest part of building any new lead generation or marketing channel in your company is the beginning. It's the messy figuring it out phase, right? So hire an agency to do that part, which is more of the leverage, more of the hard work, more of the strategic stuff. And then after a point, like your agency, if they're good, should just be humming. They should just be getting you your KPIs, your leads, your meetings, your pipeline, your sales. And after things are kind of like smooth, then you can say, hey, Mr. Agency, can we take this in-house? What would that look like? And for us at Revenue Boost, we have something where, really within like 1 month, we can transfer everything in-house, and then we can do monthly consulting with your sales manager on how to make sure that things don't break and then things keep growing and scaling versus optimizing, right? So I do think hybrid is a really great option where you could work with an agency short-term. But you also might find that, you know what, I like having this handled. This agency is good. They're getting results. So why change it, right? One of my favorite expressions is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? That's what my dad always told me when I was younger. And I'm sure your dad did as well, because that's pretty well known. But anyways, yeah, this is like really like the 6 things I'd evaluate on. And look, I hire marketing companies too, and I also build certain things in-house for Revenue Boost. So I've been through both sides, and this is just how I look at it. I just ask myself, like, do I need results soon? Do I want to learn this and figure this out myself? And what's my budget, right? So those are some of the things I think about. But I hope this is useful. Some other data is that the average SDR tenure, we talked about that. Recruiting cost is 10 to 20K, 6 to 12 weeks ramp time. SDR cost is 130 to 150 a year, and tech stack is 30K a year. So you got to be prepared to spend like 2K a month on like tools, right? The database, the sending platform, the deliverability infrastructure, right? Data enrichment. And the other thing too is typically when you work with an agency, they're also going to have like good partnerships with these tools and like get you really good features that you might not have. It's the same for anything, right? Like with Meta ads, if you were to hire our company for like Facebook ads or Google ads, like we'd have partnerships with these companies and like agency perks and benefits, right? So you also kind of get some of the savings there as well, and some of the other benefits or exclusive features. But the main thing is especially for outbound and especially for cold email, the tech stack really adds up. And you don't typically, when you hire an agency, you don't need to pay for the tech stack. It's kind of just included as part of their service, because they already have all the tools. You don't need to like evaluate and like purchase all of them yourself and go through procurement and all of that stuff, right? So it's honestly just simpler to work with an agency. That's why I think there's a lot of value in it, and that's why I do this often. Like often when I'm trying to build a new lead generation channel, I like to just hire an agency versus figure it out myself. But there are times where I just try to go in-house from the get-go. I think in-house makes a lot more sense for like branding stuff, like certain creative work, like branding. Like social media is very beneficial to be in-house. I think you can hire a social media agency and it's going to be the same thing. They're going to have a proven system and all these things. But I do think that when it comes to like stuff that's related to your branding, it is beneficial to have that in-house, because your in-house employees can really like understand the brand and who you're going for and kind of work within that. So yeah, it kind of depends on what you're doing. If you guys would like, I can make another video that's broader about whether you should go in-house or hire an agency for other marketing categories like social media or paid ads, etc. But this video is just about outbound and SDRs. And I get asked this question a lot. It's like, should I do it in-house? Should I hire you guys? Or should I have a mix of both? So I just wanted to make this video to answer that question. But I hope this was useful. I would say one other thing too is really reflect on your expertise. If you're not an expert at outbound, cold email, LinkedIn, cold calling, if you have not managed a team of SDRs, then don't do it. Learn to be good at it before you try to bring it in-house. Because if you do something that you're out of your depth on, you can't properly vet and train the right people. You can't manage a function you don't understand yet, right? So if you are like really good with all this stuff, then it might make more sense to go in-house up front. But still, you have to be prepared for a longer ramp time and more cost, right? But again, it is nice when you have things under your own roof. There is a benefit to that as well, right? But I would say like, yeah, the biggest thing is, you're also just getting trained talent. Like, so part of the benefit of agency is that, we take the HR risk off your plate. Like we train our people, we hire the right people, we're developing them. So you're kind of getting like vetted talent who's getting like constant training versus like if you do it in-house, you got to provide that training, right? So yeah, I think it just kind of depends on your priorities, but in the majority of cases, it makes more sense to outsource. But there are some times where it would make sense to go in-house. But anyways, I hope this video is useful for you. If you want help figuring this out, book a call below with our team. We'll look at your business. We'll look at where you're at. We'll look at your pipeline goals, and we'll craft a plan for you. We actually right now, at the time of recording this video, we're doing a free go-to-market strategy. So we'll actually build you a 6-month go-to-market plan and tell you exactly what you need to do to double your pipeline within 6 months and scale your business. So book a call below if you'd like to get a free go-to-market plan personalized to your business, or if you'd just like to chat about the options of in-house versus agency and see what it would cost to even work with us at Revenue Boost to do it for you. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Comment below any questions. I hope this answered everything for you. Make sure to subscribe for more videos like this. And also click the link on the screen. There's another video popping up now that you're going to really enjoy that's very relevant to this topic. So hope to see you in the next video. Bye. Hey, I'm AJ Casada, co-founder of Revenue Boost. Really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do, make sure to leave me a comment and definitely subscribe right now so that you're notified of all the cool stuff we're doing, all the cool tactics, tips, and strategies that we share here on the channel. We help B2B companies scale to 7 to 8 figures. We've helped over 400 clients, and we can help you too. And we share some amazing stuff on the channel here. So really hope you enjoyed. And if you do, let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe. All right, back to the video.